It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Evan Miles, a billionaire tech entrepreneur, known more for his silence than his smiles, stopped by a small-town bakery on the edge of Maplewood. He wasn't supposed to be there. His chauffeur had taken a wrong turn on the way to his private airfield. Inside, the bakery smelled of vanilla, cinnamon, and something heartbreakingly human. Evan stood quietly by the counter, waiting for his assistant to grab some coffee, when he noticed a woman talking softly to the cashier. Her name tag read Clara. She looked exhausted, the kind of tired that comes from working 2 jobs and sleeping too little. In her hand, she held a phone and a small slip of paper, a cake order form. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, voice trembling. "I need to cancel the birthday cake for Saturday. Things just didn't go the way I hoped this week." The cashier frowned. "Oh, Clara, we already started on it." "I know," she said quickly, eyes glistening, "but I can't afford it anymore. I'll pay you for the ingredients next month." "I promise." Evan watched as she stepped back, clutching her phone like it held the last bit of hope she had left. He caught a glimpse of her screen, a photo of a little boy, missing one front tooth, grinning beside a superhero poster. The message beneath read, "Can't wait for my cake, Mommy. It's gonna be the best birthday ever." Evan's throat tightened. He didn't know this woman, didn't know her boy, but something inside him, the part that used to feel long before wealth built its cold walls, cracked open. When Clara left, he turned to the cashier. "That woman, how much did she owe for the cake?" The cashier hesitated. $70. "But it's more than that. She's been ordering from us every year. This one was supposed to be special. Her boy just got out of the hospital." Evan nodded, slipping a black credit card across the counter. "Finish the cake," he said quietly. "Make it exactly as she planned. No, better. Add balloons, decorations, whatever a 7-year-old superhero would dream of, and deliver it Saturday morning." The cashier blinked. "So should I put your name?" "No," Evan interrupted. "Tell her it's already paid for, by someone who believes every kid deserves their cake." That Saturday, Clara opened her door to find the bakery van parked outside. A giant blue cake box sat on the porch, covered in ribbons and confetti. On top was a card. "Happy birthday, Liam, from someone who thinks you're already a hero." She stood frozen. Tears streamed down her face as her son ran out, squealing at the sight of the cake with his favorite superhero flying across it. It wasn't just the cake. There were gifts, balloons, and even a brand new bicycle leaning against the railing. Clara pressed a hand to her mouth. Who did this?" The delivery driver smiled. "Anonymous, ma'am. Said to tell you, keep believing." Across town, Evan sat in his car outside the park. Through tinted glass, he watched Liam pedaling around on the bike, laughing so hard it shook his small shoulders. Clara knelt by the picnic table, wiping her eyes, her joy louder than any words. His assistant looked at him curiously. "Sir, why this one?" Evan's eyes stayed on the boy. "When I was his age," he murmured, "my mom canceled my birthday cake too. She died 2 weeks later. I never celebrated another one." There was silence. Then Evan smiled faintly, a tear tracing the edge of his jaw. "Guess it's time I finally did." The next morning, the bakery's doorbell jingled. Clara stood there holding a small envelope. Inside was a check for $70 and a note written in careful, nervous handwriting. "Please pass this forward to someone else who needs a smile." That same day, the bakery owner posted the story online. Within hours, it went viral. Millions of people sharing, commenting, crying. Evan never came forward. He didn't need to. But that night, across the world, people paid for strangers' meals, covered kids' party costs, and sent cakes to families they'd never met, all signing the same message. 2 weeks later, Clara was back at the bakery, holding Liam's little hand. The bell above the door chimed, and the same cashier looked up with a warm smile. "Hey there, birthday boy," she said. "How was the cake?" Liam grinned, his missing tooth flashing like a badge of joy. "It was awesome. Mommy says superheroes don't always wear capes, but I think they eat cake too." Clara laughed softly, embarrassed and proud all at once. "We just wanted to thank whoever did it. I still don't know who it was." The cashier shook her head. Whoever it was, they didn't leave a name. Just that note. Clara nodded, her eyes glistening again. Then I hope they know what they did mattered. My son thinks the world's full of good people now. And honestly, I do too. She turned to leave. But before she stepped out, the bakery door opened, and in walked Evan Miles. Dressed simply in a gray sweater and jeans, no one would have guessed he was one of the richest men in the country. He paused when he saw her, almost as if the universe had choreographed the meeting. Clara smiled politely and stepped aside to let him pass. "You can go ahead," she said, but Evan shook his head. "No, please, you were first." Something in his voice was familiar, gentle, thoughtful. The cashier's eyes flicked between them, recognition dawning, but she said nothing. Evan just gave a soft smile and placed an order for a dozen cupcakes. "Superhero theme again?" the cashier teased. He smiled faintly. "Always." Clara turned to look at him, confused, and for a second their eyes met, just long enough for her to feel that spark of understanding that words can't carry. He didn't confirm anything. He didn't have to. Outside, Liam tugged at her hand. "Mommy, that man looks like the guy from the news. The one who helps people." Clara smiled down at her son. "Maybe he's just another superhero, baby." Evan watched them leave through the bakery window, the sound of Liam's laughter fading into the street. For the first time in years, he felt something pure, something he hadn't felt since he was a little boy waiting for a birthday that never came. That evening, he sat at his desk overlooking the city and opened his laptop. On the screen was a new foundation proposal. At the top, he typed the name slowly, carefully, "The Cake Project, because every child deserves to celebrate." He stared at it for a long moment before signing his name. In homes across the country, single parents started receiving unexpected packages, birthday cakes, small gifts, party decorations, each one arriving with the same handwritten note. From someone who believes every kid deserves their cake. And though none of them knew who the man behind it was, it didn't matter. Because the kindness had already spread beyond him, growing into something bigger, something unstoppable. Sometimes, all it takes is one act of compassion to remind the world that goodness still exists, that behind every small kindness lies a story, a memory and a heart that once needed saving too. And somewhere in a quiet bakery in Maplewood, a little boy with a missing tooth told anyone who'd listen, "My superhero doesn't fly, he bakes cakes." Months passed, and the story faded from the internet, as stories often do. But in small, ordinary corners of life, it kept living on, in whispered retellings, in little acts of quiet generosity. Clara never found out the truth. She didn't know that the man who'd stood behind her in line that rainy day was changing lives in her name. She just kept doing what she always had, working hard, loving her son and finding small ways to give back. Every Friday, she'd buy an extra loaf of bread from the bakery and drop it off at the community shelter on her way home. She'd tell Liam they were sharing with someone who needs a little kindness today. It became their small ritual. One afternoon, nearly a year later, Clara was at work when a sleek black car stopped outside. A young woman in a navy coat walked in holding a folder. "Clara Hayes?" she asked. Clara nodded, startled. The woman smiled. "I'm with the Miles Foundation. Mr. Evan Miles asked me to deliver this personally." She handed over an envelope embossed with gold lettering. Inside was a letter, simple, heartfelt and written in neat handwriting. "Dear Clara, you reminded me that the simplest gestures can change a life. You helped me remember a piece of myself I thought I'd lost forever. Enclosed is something small to help you continue doing what you already do so naturally. Make people believe in kindness again. Thank you for teaching me that the world is still good." In behind the letter was a check, large enough to pay off her debts, send Liam to school, and reopen the small cafe she'd once dreamed of running. Clara sank into a chair, tears slipping down her cheeks. That night, she and Liam baked a cake, a simple chocolate one with blue frosting. They wrote "thank you" across the top in shaky icing, then shared it with their neighbors. "Mommy," Liam said between bites, "do you think we'll ever meet him?" Clara smiled softly. "Maybe we already did." Far across town, Evan watched the sunset from his